When SpongeBob blew bubbles, he somehow blew out a bubble version of Mrs. Puff, who even gave him a bubble boating license. Of course, it was all just SpongeBob's imagination. Then he suddenly came up with a great idea. SpongeBob drove his bubble boat straight onto the streets. The residents had never seen such a cool vehicle before, but it wasn't long before a traffic cop pulled SpongeBob over and asked to see his driver's license.
You don't need a license to drive a bubble.
I suppose you're right. Carry on, citizen.
SpongeBob drove the bubble boat back to the Pineapple House and excitedly told Gary about his driving experience. Just then, someone suddenly knocked on the door. When SpongeBob opened it, he found the entire neighborhood standing outside. They all wanted a cool bubble boat of their own. SpongeBob prepared a huge bucket of bubble solution.
Thank you!
Then Plankton showed up. He wanted a bubble boat that was both terrifying and evil. SpongeBob immediately blew up a monster bubble boat after letting some of the air out. It was finally the right size for Plankton. More and more residents started showing up. They all wanted their own bubble boats. Meanwhile, Mrs. Puff was teaching her students, but there wasn't a single student in the classroom. Everyone had gone off to drive bubble boats. Mrs. Puff had lost her only job. She took her own boat out onto the road, but it was completely unsuitable for the traffic conditions. Mrs. Puff lost control of her boat and crashed into several bubble cars one after another. She was immediately pulled over by a traffic cop. Mrs. Puff was forced to attend bubble driving school, but her worst nightmare came true. The instructor there was none other than SpongeBob. SpongeBob first demonstrated how to start a bubble boat, but Mrs. Puff was so nervous that she couldn't get the hang of it at all. On her second attempt, she gradually figured out how to control the bubble boat. She even managed to avoid the obstacles on the road. But soon, more and more obstacles started appearing. The bubble boat lost control and crashed toward a nearby lighthouse. The lighthouse even caught on fire. Next, she had to take the actual road test. At first, she was doing surprisingly well, but Mrs. Puff accidentally drove onto the highway and even ended up in the oncoming lane. She desperately tried to avoid the traffic, but eventually, she still got into a crash. She was so terrified that her body inflated. A huge number of bubble boats became attached to her. They slowly floated up into the air. When the bubble boats hit the water, they instantly exploded. SpongeBob quickly blew out a huge number of bubbles to protect the residents who were falling. The bubble boats were simply too unstable. In the end, they were banned from use, and SpongeBob still had to work hard to finally earn his driver's license.